Hey everybody, it's Ron with Intermittent Fasting Fitness. I thought I would take a few minutes here since I'm at my desk and I'm at the front desk at the studio. I have to run out to the other location today for a few minutes, but I want to take a minute and just update you on my progress and what's going on with the intermittent fasting for me. I last ate last night around 7 o'clock p.m. I didn't eat again today until 11 a.m. I had to because of scheduling. I wanted to go longer, but I kind of didn't because I couldn't because I just had some scheduling stuff come up, which might happen to you. You might see that as well. I would say just do the best you can. I'll pull it back tonight, so I'll be done a little bit earlier. I'll be done around 6 o'clock tonight, so that'll probably be the last time in terms of my nutrition. I'll be finished with work around the same time, so I'm going to finish my nutrition then as well. But something I wanted to talk about today, because people have asked at the studio in particular, is when is the best time to exercise if you're on a fast. What I'm going to recommend is when your energy level is highest. For me, that's usually 2 hours after I eat. When I'm fasting, and I've been fasting now for 17 days. This is day number 17. My weight continues to stay where it was, so I'm really happy about that. But in terms of exercise and energy, there's a few things that come into play here. One is rest. My rest has been awesome. I'm getting really deep sleep. I wake up usually wondering where I am, which is really good. It's like when you go on vacation and you wake up in a room that you're not familiar with. It's like that kind of deep sleep. I feel carefree when I sleep, so that's really good. That's important. Two, my energy level is still really high, and my focus is like ridiculous. It's crazy how much more focused I am on daily tasks and staying on top of tasks. Like even going from one room to another, you know how you have a tendency to lose track of what you're thinking about going from one room to the other. I really don't have that issue. And not that I did before too much, but occasionally that happens, and I have noticed that like my focus is dead on. I'm really lasered in on tasks that I'm trying to accomplish. So that's good. And for the record, so you know, because people do ask me cognitively about that, because they ask neurological questions quite often when they're training. The reason you forget what happens when you go from one room to another is actually hardwired back to our brain when we were still hunter-gatherers. And that's because when you were a hunter-gatherer and you left like a really wooded area and you went out to like a plain or to a grassy area, your brain had to dump all of the threats behind it, and they had to take into consideration the threats that were in front of it. So your brain said, okay, we're out of the jungle, we can forget that, now what are we looking at? And then it starts to think about it. So the same thing happens when we go from one room to another. It's actually an environmental change that we're experiencing. So when that happens, our brain has a tendency to dump stuff, which is why we forget things when we go from one room to the other. Pretty interesting study. I read it a couple months ago online, but good stuff. So that helps with that, hopefully. But in terms of nutrient timing and exercise, I generally want to eat. I like to eat 24 hours before I exercise. So what that means is if I'm going to have like a high protein, high like quality carbohydrate meal, which is what I generally do anyway, like rice and beans, for example, I'll have that 24 hours before I know I'm going to exercise. That way, the next day, all those stored carbs are kind of available for my body. I've already digested them. They're sitting in my body. They're ready to go. That's how I envision the food working in my system. So that's generally how I do that. In terms of, you know, if you wake up and you feel a lot of energy, then by all means, if that's when you want to exercise, that's when you should do it. I don't feel that same energy to get up and exercise. I feel the energy to get up and focus on tasks for the day. I kind of attack the day. That's how I think about it. So that's what I'm thinking about when I wake up. I'm not thinking about exercise so much. Part of that again is because I work in a personal training studio. I own it. So when I come into work, I have access to the studio. I have access to the equipment anytime I'm not training a client. So so that's my talk for the day. Again, this is day number 17, and I will I'll keep going. If you could do me a favor, subscribe here, like us on Facebook, share this video, let your friends know about it. If you're interested in intermittent fasting, go ahead and email me. My email is ron@ronbetta.com. And I still have a little bit of a congestion thing, but I feel 95% better. So I'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll keep you posted.